strictly speaking, it's about 38 because UK, Scotland and UK, they are all Scotland is part of UK. So well, I started backpacking about when I was 21 or 22, and I fell in love with backpacking. But on all this journey, it was just like 1 to 2 weeks trip. And it didn't occur to me that I should go for longer because it's just not the Asian thing to go for anything longer than 2 weeks. So it's a luxury and it's rarely heard of in Singapore, Malaysia. But along my trips, I met a lot of people who are from the other countries who are actually on a half a year or 1 year trip, and I started envying them being able to go for so long. And then as I was approaching my 30th birthday, I thought I've been stagnant in the job for quite a while. I've been in the job for 8 years. I love the job, it's my dream job. But I just feel that, I should have a little bit of change, or I should see more of the world. But I was a little bit hesitant because I was quite comfortable in my job, pretty much in a comfort zone, stable job, stable income. It's my dream job. How many people can say they have a dream job? But then somewhere I saw a phrase that says, some things, if you don't do it when you're young, you'll never do it. And that sentence really struck a chord with me, and I decided, think something like, traveling around the world should be really done when you're young. Otherwise, I can be like normal people and work till I'm 60, but when I'm 60 and I decide to travel the world, I might be full of illnesses. So I won't be able to do it. So I decided that yes, I will quit my job and go travel. I didn't really prepare actually, because I'm not so much of a person who plans or prepare. Well, all I did was just to first thing to check my money, if I have enough money. So I did some simple calculations based on my own style of traveling and my own expenses when I'm traveling, and I worked out a figure that I decided would be enough for at least 1 year of travel. And then I look at my savings account, make sure that I have enough for the year that I plan to be away, and also some savings when I'm back from the trip, so I don't come back to nothing. So I decided to give myself 1 year to save up enough money for that, and that is basically the planning that I really did. I basically did nothing else until I quit my job. I have already finished serving my notice, and then I decided, oh yeah, it's time to get a ticket. So not much of planning actually, because I'm very much an impromptu person. So and since I've no time limit to get back home, so I decided that I'll just buy a one-way ticket and I will just see as I go along. So pretty much just get the stuff that I need for the trip, and that's it, no planning. This is a question that I get very often from many people, which is your favorite country or which is your favorite part. It's very difficult to say which is my favorite country or favorite part, because every country offers different things. But some of the ones I really enjoy was like when I was in Czech Republic, where there was once where I went to a tiny little town, and together with the other backpackers, we were on the raft sailing down the river with a beer in one hand and chips on the other hand, and enjoying the scenery. Even though it was already approaching autumn, it was a little bit cold, but it's still quite an enjoyment. And we actually stopped halfway and get off for beer and hot sausages while sitting around a campfire. So that was something really enjoyable that you don't really get to do in Singapore and Malaysia actually. And then also you get to see a lot of different cultures, especially in the Middle East and also in Africa. I would say that Africa was one of my favorite parts. It's really difficult to travel through because it's not such a touristy place. It's a very different culture, but it's also where I learned that the poorer the country is, you get bigger smiles on the face of the people, and that's what I really enjoy when I travel through places like this. And just interacting with the locals, even though we don't speak the same languages. But it's interesting to see that they try to talk to you, and then they offer you food, even though they can't speak your language and you can't speak their language. So that's what I really enjoy actually. Well, I must say I've been pretty lucky compared to the other travelers. I've had relatively few incidents. The biggest thing that irritates me was being harassed by men, because I don't really get attention from men in Singapore, because I'm not pretty by Asian standards, so I don't get harassed at all. But once I started traveling through these countries, I get harassed a lot by the men. So I couldn't deal with it at first, but after 10 or 20 countries, you get used to it. You know how to deal with it. So that was the one thing that was a little bit of an irritant to me. I was almost raped once in Turkey. I was molested a few times in a few different countries, but no big harm done. Even for the almost rape, nothing really much happened to me in the end. I was safe and sound. I had my handphone stolen when I was in Ethiopia. I got the guy. The police helped me to catch the guy in the end, and I actually ended up in court, being grilled by lawyers and judges, and the guy actually got sent to jail.
Oh,
Yeah, that was something really totally unexpected actually, and then that was pretty much about it. I didn't really have anything missing. I got my handphone back in the end. I only missed the flight once because I didn't really fly a lot. The first 30 months of my journey was done without any flying, so I only missed the flight once, which was it was irritating, but it was solved in the end. So I've been pretty lucky with my travels. It's really tough question because I really love all the places I go to. I really love Mongolia. The wild grasslands is really beautiful. For the scenery, I was in Mongolia. If you're going for something cultural, I would say one of the Middle Eastern countries or one of the African countries would be great. I spent 6 weeks in Ethiopia. It's a love-hate thing because it's a really different type of country from where we are. They're a really poor country, but yet it's interesting to travel through. I hate it in the end also because you get harassed a lot by the local people because they're always asking you for money. But you know, that's just the way things are. But it's a very different type of culture and it's interesting to experience actually. So I would say that countries in Europe are a little bit closer to, has some similarities in culture and people to Singapore and Malaysia. So not so much of a fascination, although the scenery is really beautiful. The other country I really loved was Bosnia, because it's a country with a lot of culture and a lot of history. So it's a little bit of culture shock when I arrived, and I just saw buildings that are still bombed out, or you see bits of granite on the pavements, and all. So it's a little bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, wow, yeah, Bosnia. Wow.
Yeah, Bosnia, yeah,
I
with
never
the war.
considered going there. Yeah.
But it's actually a very beautiful country, and if you ignore the bombed up buildings or the marks of the granites on the pavement and all, it's actually, you will not feel that this country has gone through war less than 20 years ago, actually.
I see.
Yeah, beautiful country, I love it. Well, most important is a good pair of shoes. Because without a good pair of shoes, you can't go anywhere. So I have good pairs of hiking boots. I brought my own sleeping bag because there's some places, especially in Africa, you need it because they don't change the bed sheets. Sometimes you like when I was traveling through Sudan, you get a mattress you get a mattress full of sand and things like that. So a sleeping bag is essential for me because I'm allergic to bites. Just a few change of clothes, and nothing else much. Of my laptop, and also a tiny little camera, my first camera, because I didn't want to spend my money buying souvenirs. So photos are the best souvenirs because they're free and they're weightless.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty much nothing else special actually. Just what you need, because whatever I need, I just buy along the way. And of course guidebooks, because at that time there wasn't such a thing called an e-book reader. So I had to buy a few guidebooks and carry it with me actually. I set off in June 2008 and I got back to Singapore in November 2009. 502 days, 38 countries.
Oh.
Yes, by myself.
Huh?
But when you're traveling by yourself, you're not exactly but alone, because you get to meet a lot of other travelers along the way. So I was changing traveling partners every few days kind of thing. So the only period of time where I was really by myself, alone kind of thing, it hardly adds up to more than 2 months actually. Of course, you learn. The first and most important thing I learned was about myself. I got to know myself much better because I realized that I've never seen myself so clearly for other than this trip. You know, I learned a lot more about what I really liked, and what I really don't like, and what before I wasn't sure what I want out of life. You know, how I want to live my life and all. But after this long trip, I realized that no, I like this and I don't like this, and this is how I want to live my life, kind of thing. So that's the very biggest lesson. The second lesson I learned was to appreciate every single thing I have right now. I mean, I learned that before during all my travels, but this particular long trip just emphasized to me how much I should appreciate what I have. Even tiny little things like toilets. Yeah, because after you have been to toilets which are made out of wooden shed, which is just a hole in the mud, to learn to appreciate even the dirty toilets you have back in your own country. Of course, I would recommend it. I mean, I met a lot of people who say that, oh, you have guts and this is something I want to do, but you know, you don't really need guts. You don't really need a lot of money. I'm not rich. I'm definitely not rich. I started traveling only in my 20s only because my family is not rich enough to afford traveling. So I only started traveling when I started earning my own money. So I'm definitely not rich. But I would say that after a trip, I'm rich here in the heart, you know, because I learned so much. I meet so many wonderful people. I've gained so much experience and all. So it's definitely something you will not be able to get through working. It's definitely something you will not get through staying at home and staying in your own country. The people you meet, the experiences that you have, the things you see, these are something you will only get if you move out of your comfort zone and go take a trip. Yes, I wish that I could have gone on with my original plan of moving on to South America. Because the original plan was to cover even South America, but I ran out of money, so I had to come home. I wish I could spend more time in many of these countries that I went to. Some of these places I've been there for too short a time and I couldn't appreciate the beauty of the place. So maybe I should have been a little bit hardworking and do a little bit more homework instead of playing it by the ear like I always do. Yeah. Yes, I do. Of course, I will keep traveling. It's my number one love, and I will continue to travel because the world is big. You have more than 200 countries, and I've only seen 1/4 of it. So I like to see as much as I can, experience more different culture, meet more different people, and yeah, I think I learn a lot as I go along the way. So I definitely plan to continue traveling. It's actually very, very amazing. I actually never really attended BookFest, but I think it's really amazing that they have fairs like this where you can get all the books in one shot. And you actually can browse and compare the different books you have actually. Like for me, I'm interested in travel books, so I had a good time just now browsing through all the travel books actually and seeing which books are suitable for my future travels, kind of thing. So yeah, I do enjoy browsing through the books. yeah. For someone who doesn't buy a lot of books, it's still quite an enjoyment to be soaking in this kind of atmosphere and wandering around through the books actually. Yeah. Hi, I'm Weixi and I love reading.